Welcome to A Note for God, my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for taking some time today to listen and watch. Today, we're going to talk about 5 tips for Bible study. I know sometimes it can be very overwhelming, especially when you're first starting to read the Bible. You're like, what do I start? What do I do? I read this, I read that. And I think because we get so stuck on those different ideas, we just don't start. So, I'm here to help you because this has worked for me and hopefully it will work for you. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to A Note for God, hit the subscription button, and also give me a like button, right? It always helps the channel. So let's get started right away. I always let me tell you, if you have never watched any of my videos, I like to say a disclaimer. I have 2 young kids, a 4 and a 6-year-old, that will just come in here and be like, hey, I won't be on camera too. So that's why I like to get to the point quick and fast, just in case. All right. So again, welcome to A Note for God, a channel that, hold on one second. Okay, thank you. Okay, give me 5 seconds.
Every time I see this, it's on TV.
Thank you. Oh, yes, it is. You're right. Thank you. I'm almost done. Told you guys. Anyway, a YouTube channel where I really want to emphasize getting closer to God, family, and faith, and anything that comes in between of being a mama. All right. So anyway, let's get to it because we already got an interruption. Tip number 1. You're going to say, well, that's common sense, Grace. It is common sense. However, not many people do it. I'm just going to be honest with you, right? Not many people do it. Tip number 1 is get a Bible. Get yourself a physical Bible, not on your app. I appreciate that you have it on your phone, and it's great, but get a physical Bible itself, right? I'm going to show you what I use. I like this. I'm going to tell you in a second why. I got the Life Application Study Bible. And it does not come with this. I put that, everything's on Amazon, right? What I like is that it tells you, well, obviously it has the written text, and then in the bottom, you can always read either what's going on, what was going on in that time frame, or just kind of breaking it down for you so you're able to understand, right? Because one of the things when you start to study the Bible, like, well, I don't know what was going on. This is a perfect one to start with, right? Life Application Study Bible. I will also suggest that you get, and I'm looking at my phone, a few apps on your phone with the Bible, right? I like YouVersion. I also have the Study Bible, this one, as an app. I think I bought it like for $9.99 or whatever the price was. I like to have that as well. Another one that you should also get on your phone is the Blue Letter Bible, right? So if you're reading something, and on the Blue Letter Bible, I have that as the King James Version, which I love. But what I also love is that you have cross references, text commentaries. You can go more in depth with the Bible itself on the Blue Letter Bible, which I love. So I know, common sense, but definitely get yourself a Bible, a physical Bible, because there's nothing better than just to have it and read it and underline, highlight, which I'll get to in a second. But definitely get one. And another thing is that I know we have our handy dandy phone, but sometimes we get distracted by going all over the place and not reading, or we see notifications and then we venture off. So definitely a Bible itself, I recommend. Again, Life Application Study Bible. I think this is New Living Translation. New Living Translation. King James Version. Stay away from the Passion. I think it's Passion Translation. That's not a good one. I have this cover just for my Bible. It says, "Blessed is she who has believed that the Lord will fulfill his promise to her," which I love. Anyway, so get yourself a Bible and those different apps I just mentioned to you as well. Tip number 2. I love journals. I'm not even going to show you how many journals I found yesterday all over the place, but I know for a fact I shouldn't be buying any for the remainder of the year. Anyway, get yourself a nice little journal, or if not, a 25 cents, 18 cents notebook is fine too, right? But I had this. I don't know when I bought it, and I'm like, I'm going to use it now. So buy yourself a nice journal for you to take notes, pens and highlighters, right? This is my handy dandy. I love little bags with highlighters. I don't know if you're the same way. But here I have my highlighters, my pens. So when I do go to Bible study or church or stuff like that, I just grab it, toss it in my purse, and there we go. So very, very important to get your journals, your pencils, your highlighters. I have seen many articles or different videos of if you get yourself different highlighters and the blue for this, I don't know, the orange for that, the yellow for this. I can't do that. I cannot do that. For me, it doesn't work. Do a system that works for you, and it's easy. I like different highlighters, and whichever one I pick up, I highlight, and there it is, right? If you are the one that likes the different, like yellow for this, blue for that, by all means, work on it if that's for you. It is not for me because I just can't. So definitely have that. Number 3, when you are studying the Bible, very, very important is, now that you have your journal, summarize. So when you're reading something, and as a teacher, I've been an educator for 15 years. I think going on 16 at this point, who knows? One of the things I emphasize to all my students is when you're done reading something, summarize it, right? So you take it, you have your journal, and typically what I do is I write the date, and then I also write what book I'm reading, right? Or the chapter or the verse or whatever, and then you summarize it. Right? What is it saying here? Right? What is this particular thing saying? Right? Because if you're just reading to read it and you're not processing, it's not going to sink in, right? So then you just summarize it. It can be a few sentences, it could be a few words, it could be a word that just pops out at you and you're like, wait, I just need to write that word. Another thing kind of goes into the 4th tip is look up words. You can imagine how many of my students would never look up words that they did not know. You have a dictionary, you have your phone, look up the word. That one word can mean so much and be so powerful, and you're not looking it up, it's not going to make sense. All right, so definitely look up the words you do not know. What I typically do when I don't know a word, I circle it and then I write it in my journal itself, and then I look it up. And then I might be like, oh, this is what the word means, right? So definitely do that. Look up the word, again, because sometimes we tend not to look them up because we think it's not important. But I'm here to tell you it is super, super important to look up the words. So that would be tip number 4. And the last tip, again, it might be like common sense, but a lot of people don't do it. Set up a time for your Bible study. I would suggest, again, totally up to you, I would suggest first thing in the morning when you wake up, maybe after you're done working out or you're done having your cup of coffee or the kids are still sleeping. Do it first thing in the morning, because if you kind of say, I'm going to do it later on, it doesn't happen, especially when you have kids or you work from home. So definitely schedule your Bible study time, right? That way it gets done, right? So those are my 5 tips for just really getting into studying the word. It can be very overwhelming, I know, because I've been there. But if you kind of just implement those 5 tips, it's going to make it a little bit so much easier. And if you're not really sure where to start, like, okay, what do I read? Been there, done that. I'm definitely going to post on the box below a 30-day devotional that I created. Take a look at it. I like it because that's really, truly how I started to read the Bible more. It was so funny. I just bought it at Sam's. I was like, okay, I like it. And I liked it because it had a Bible verse, it had a couple of questions. And then just to even extend it even further, I would find that passage or that verse in my Bible, right? I would find it in my Bible and then read a little bit before and a little bit below of that verse. And then you kind of just start getting into the flow of reading the Bible even more. And then obviously you find it more fascinating. Another just little bonus tip, I didn't throw it in there, is when you read something in the Bible, I've learned this. I didn't do this before, but one of my friends just shared this tip, is write the day of when you read the verse, right? It's just so fascinating because I will have something like read April 2019, and then I go back and read it. I was like, wow, I read it back then. So definitely do that. Oh, and let me show you something. Hopefully I can find it. Here it is. Another bonus tips. I got this from a store. I don't even know if they offer it anymore, an online store. And why I like it is because it just gives me that satisfaction of, wow, I am reading the Bible. I've read so and so forth. But obviously I bought this maybe like a year and a half ago, and I haven't read the whole Bible, which is totally fine. But I like that I can read it. I mean, I can just, do little check marks and say, wow, I read it. Sometimes I'll go back and read certain things again, which is perfectly fine. But I like that I'm like, wow, I am reading the Bible. All right. So definitely share the video below, 5 tips just to kind of get you started to read the Bible. It's New Year. Let's get into the habit now. And again, comment below if you have any additional tips that you would like to share with me. How did you get started reading the Bible and anything else? Also, let me know any other videos that you would like for me to make to help you out with the Bible. Anyway, so you guys have a fantastic day.